Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Bong! And we're continuing our traipse through the endless bounty that is Handel. And we've got some great stuff here, all operas and oratorios. And they are fun. I mean fun. Like incredible stuff. First, Susanna. You know the story of Susanna and the Elders, featuring Lorraine Hunt, who's amazing as Susanna, Drew Minter, Jill Feldman, William Parker, Jeffrey Thomas, David Thomas, the chamber chorus at the University of California at Berkeley. I used to hang out there when I was at Stanford. And the Philharmonia Baroque Orchestra under Nicholas McGuigan. These were lovely, lovely performances, and this one really is. And it's nearly 3 hours long. It's a very, very big, serious, solid, crazy, juicy oratorio. And it's one of the few that actually has a certain comic element until it gets like really nasty, which it always does in these Old Testament oratorios particularly. And you know the story of Susanna, right? She's, Carlisle Floyd's opera, which sets the whole thing in the Appalachian America place there. But in the biblical story, she's seen bathing naked by the elders, and they begin to persecute her because they want her, of course, and they're trying to get her to knuckle under to their sexual advances and deviancy, and she won't, and she's virtuous. And anyway, it's just really terrific. So this is a fabulous performance. It really is. And I haven't heard it in a while, and I have this extreme urge to, go listen to it, right now. So, yeah, good stuff. It's this one. Oh, yeah, we did that just now. Okay, so that goes there. Right, then we've got, just as great, Rinaldo. Oh, this is big deal. This is the first opera that Handel did for England. People went to, see the costumes as much as to hear the music. Opera, even then, was there for the spectacle. And this was a spectacle. It was mostly consists of music that Handel reused from previous works, but it doesn't matter. It's glorious. And we've got Bernarda Fink and Cecilia Bartoli and David Daniels and Daniel Taylor and Gerald Finley and Luba Organasova and Bajan Maida. You got a whole bunch of countertenors screaming around. Ah, my goodness. It's Mark Padmore, Catherine Bott, Anna Maria Rincon. Yeah, really great. With the Academy of Ancient Music and Christopher Hogwood, who leads a very virile performance, unusually so, all things considered, because he's not really that kind of blood and guts operatic guy. But they do one heck of a job, and the singing is terrific. Oh, yeah, great fun. Absolutely delightful, and a major work. Major work. Handel's Agrippina. This was the biggest hit before Handel got to England. It's got some fantastic arias. It's a comic opera, by and large. I mean, it has a lot of that in it anyway. This is the McGuigan Capella Savaria performance from the 1991 Göttingen Festival production. There have been several recordings of Agrippina since then that I think probably have a little bit more red meat on their bones, but this is still very good. With Sally Bradshaw, Wendy Hill, Lisa Saffer, Nicholas Isherwood, Drew Minter, Michael Dean, Ralph Popkin, Bella Szilagyi, Szilagyi, and Gloria Banditelli singing Juno. Fun opera. And this is more than 3 hours long. This one is, oh my God, it's almost 3.5. It's Wagnerian, but it has lots and lots and lots of short arias, and it's just one of those, everybody's corrupt in Rome things, and I just love it. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. The oratorio, rarely heard oratorio, but a beautiful one. Alexander Balus. This is one of what I call the waratorios. The waratorios are the ones he wrote, to celebrate the victory of the Hanoverian kings over the Jacobean revolt in the what was it, the 1730s or 40s or somewhere around there. Judas Maccabeus was one of those, and and Joshua was one of those, and this was one of those. It's not well known. It's a very moving story, actually. Alexander Paulus is the Seleucid king, and he forms an alliance with Ptolemy, the Egyptian pharaoh, who's not the same Ptolemy as in Julius Caesar. And Ptolemy has a sister, I think, or daughter, sister, I think it is, whose name is Cleopatra. Not the same Cleopatra as in Julius Caesar, and she marries Alexander Paulus, so they're in love. They're a legitimate character, and Paulus is an ally of the Jews, led by Jonathan Maccabee, part of that family. There was Jonathan and Marvin and Fred Maccabee and Moshe Maccabee, the whole crew, and they are betrayed by the Egyptians, and both Ptolemy and Alexander Paulus wind up getting killed. And Cleopatra has gorgeous arias. And even though she's a different Cleopatra, she's still sort of a sex kitten. And Handel gives her the Cleopatra orchestration that he did in Julius Caesar. That is mandolins and pizzicato strings simulating like exotic instruments. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff here. And she winds up with a very sad lament at the end. And then Jonathan, of course, comes out and points the moral, which is that if they'd all believed in the Jewish God, everything would have turned out fabulously. But they didn't, so now they're all dead, unfortunately. The moral is not the most convincing, let's put it that way, which is one of the reasons perhaps why this particular oratorio, when it adopts the moralizing tone at the end, which I don't think Handel believed for a minute, never quite captured the popularity of Joshua or Judas Maccabeus, but it's still a beautiful work. And this is a lovely performance. It's Robert King with the King's Consort, and Lynn Dawson, Michael George, Catherine Denley, Charles Daniels, and Claren McFadden. And it's on Hyperion, and it's just terrific. Really terrific. Then we've got the real Julius Caesar. Oh, here it is. Here it is with Dame Janet Baker in English. Yay, it's in English. Is it in English? Yes, it's opera in English. Of course it's in English. This is Charles Mackerras doing Julius Caesar, and it is cut down a little bit. It's only about 3 hours long, only. And you've got Janet Baker and, let's see, Christopher Booth Jones and Sarah Walker, Della Jones, Valerie Masterson, James Bowman, countertenor, is Ptolemy, John Tomlinson, and David James, countertenor, as Nerinus. Nowadays, there are really fine countertenors out there, really good ones. Back when this was done, there weren't. You wanted a countertenor, you got James Bowman or someone else. There were a couple others were coming along, but they just sounded sort of creepy and weird. This was recorded in, 1985. I mean, the dawn of time, if you were a countertenor. But, James Bowman had been around already for like 100,000 years by 1985. But it's on cellos, and it's Janet Baker is the reason you get it. Of course, that's the reason you get it. And speaking of Janet Baker, we've got Ariodante, one of the great, great Handel operas. We've already talked about this one in the Minkowski recording with Anne-Sophie von Otter, which is just amazing, on period instruments. This is Raymond Leopard. And it's 2 hours and 19 minutes and 8 seconds, which means it's very cut. I mean, it really is. It's on 3 discs, but there's quite a bit of it missing. But you've got Janet Baker, Edith Mathis, Norma Burroughs, James Bowman, countertenor, David Rendell, Sam Raimi, and Alexander Oliver with the English Chamber Orchestra. Still, of course, you've got Janet Baker and Edith Mathis. I mean, they're wonderful. They're wonderful, and it's beautiful, and it's a great story. And it has Scherza in Fida, one of the great arias of all time. Just tremendous, tremendous, tremendous stuff. So, a classic Handel recording back in the days when no one was touching these pieces. So that's why it's important. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.